Bombsight?
No one has seen Bombsight for decades.
If you thought the world of the boys couldn't get any darker or more twisted, then Bombsight is about to prove you wrong. This isn't just another Supe with flashy powers and a cool name. This is someone who sits right at the center of a much bigger, much older secret, one that ties directly into the origins of Vought itself. And the craziest part is, we barely know anything about him, yet everything we do know feels way too important to ignore. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Bombsight is being set up as a key figure in Vought Rising, and at the same time, he's already casting a long shadow over Season 5 of the main show. That alone tells you he's not just a side character. He's part of the Foundation, one of the first experiments, one of the original mistakes, or maybe one of the original successes, depending on how you look at it, from war pilot to something else. Let's start with what little background we actually have. Before all the powers, before the name Bombsight, he was just a combat pilot in the US Armed Forces. That detail might seem small, but it's actually huge when you think about it. Pilots already operate in high-pressure, life-or-death situations. They're trained for precision, speed, and destruction. Now imagine taking someone like that and injecting them with a serum that amplifies everything. That serum, of course, comes from Frederick Vought himself. Not modern Vought, not the polished corporate version, but the original mind behind it all. And instead of Compound V as we know it, Bombsight was given something far more dangerous. V-1. This is where things start to get really interesting, because V-1 isn't just an earlier version of Compound V. It's something more potent, more unstable, and honestly, more terrifying.
On a handful of early Supes. You, Bombsite, Torpedo.
The V-1 secret that changes everything. When Sister Sage analyzes the blood of Soldier Boy, she uncovers something massive. His blood contains V-1, a prototype serum that predates Compound V. According to her, this version is stronger but highly unstable, and only 5 early subjects were ever given it. And yes, Bombsight is one of those 5. Think about that for a second. Out of all the Supes we've seen, Homelander, Soldier Boy, Stormfront, Bombsight belongs to an even more exclusive group, the first experiments. The ones that weren't refined, weren't controlled, and weren't fully understood. This also explains something else, immortality. Not just slow aging, but complete biological stagnation. Bombsight doesn't age. He doesn't decay. He's been around since at least the 1950s, and probably even earlier, still walking around like time means nothing to him. A Hollywood past that feels off. Now here's where things take a strange turn. In 1953, Bombsight starred in a thriller film called The Curse of Fu Manchu. On the surface, that sounds like a random detail, but in the world of the boys, nothing is ever random. Vought has always used media to control narratives. Movies, propaganda, hero branding. It's all part of the system. So Bombsight appearing in a film during that era suggests that he wasn't just a weapon, he was also a symbol, a product being marketed to the public. But here's the unsettling part. If he was already immortal and powered by V-1 back then the version of Bombsight we're about to see is someone who has lived through decades of manipulation, exploitation, and probably trauma. That kind of lifespan doesn't come without consequences.
Now, how many Supes do we know that can punch this hard?
Doesn't make
The hunt for V-1. Fast forward to the present timeline, and Bombsight suddenly becomes incredibly important again. When the team heads to Fort Harmony looking for V-1, they discover there's none left. That alone is suspicious, but then the pieces start falling into place. Bombsight took it. Now ask yourself why. This isn't just about power. He already has V-1 in his system. So why steal more of it? Is he trying to stabilize himself, upgrade himself, or is he trying to keep it out of someone else's hands? When Homelander and Soldier Boy track down Mr. Marathon, things get even more revealing. Marathon admits that Bombsight had been his client for years, but they haven't spoken in 5 years. That gap feels important, like something changed, something went wrong. And under pressure, Marathon finally gives it up. Bombsight has the V-1. At this point, Bombsight isn't just a mystery. He's a target, powers that put him in the top tier. Let's talk about what Bombsight can actually do, because this is where he becomes genuinely dangerous. First, there's flight. Not just basic hovering, but high-speed aerial movement that gives him a massive advantage in combat. Aerial Supes are already hard to deal with, but combine that with everything else he has, and it becomes a nightmare. Then there's his strength. At Fort Harmony, he literally punches through decades of rust on a safe, and not just cracks it, he obliterates it. That's the kind of raw power that even Billy Butcher and Mother's Milk immediately recognize as rare. They outright say only a handful of Supes can hit that hard. And durability. He's described as unbreakable, at least compared to most Supes. That doesn't mean he's invincible, but it does mean taking him down won't be easy. Add in superhuman hearing, And you've got someone who's not just strong, but aware. He can detect threats before they even reach him. Immortality, the real game changer. Out of all his abilities, immortality is the one that changes everything, because strength can be matched, speed can be countered, but time is different. Bombsight has had decades to learn, adapt, and evolve. He's not just powerful, he's experienced. He's seen how Vought operates across generations. He's likely witnessed the rise and fall of other Supes. He understands the system in a way that newer characters simply can't. And that makes him unpredictable, the weaknesses that make him human. But here's the thing, Bombsight isn't unstoppable. Like all Supes, he has weaknesses. His durability, while impressive, has limits. Extreme force can still knock him out or even kill him under the right conditions. Then there's the high-frequency vulnerability. This is a classic Supe weakness, but it's especially important here because it gives normal humans a fighting chance. With the right tools, Bombsight can be neutralized, at least temporarily. And then we get to the most dangerous weakness of all, his psychology. A junkie with godlike power. Bombsight is addicted to drugs, not just casually, but to the point where it defines part of his character. And this changes everything about how we should view him, because now you're not dealing with a perfectly controlled superhuman. You're dealing with someone unstable, someone who might make reckless decisions, someone who could be manipulated, or who might spiral out of control at the worst possible moment. In a universe like The Boys, that's often more dangerous than being purely evil. What Bombsight really represents. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, Bombsight isn't just another Supe. He represents the earliest phase of Vought's experimentation, the part they don't want people to remember. The messy, unstable beginnings before everything was polished into the corporate machine we see today. He's living proof that Vought didn't start with control. It started with chaos, and now that chaos is coming back. Why Season 5 could revolve around him. With everything we know so far, it's hard to imagine Season 5 not putting Bombsight at the center of the story. He has the V-1. He has history with multiple key players, and he represents a level of power and knowledge that could disrupt everything. The real question isn't just what he'll do next. It's what he wants. Is he trying to destroy Vought, take control of it? Or is he just trying to survive in a world that has used him for decades? Because if there's one thing The Boys has taught us, it's that the most dangerous characters aren't always the strongest. They're the ones with the most to lose. And Bombsight, he might have lost everything a long time ago, which means now he has nothing holding him back.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.